Hello, it's my pleasure to be back here in another episode of Culture Mosaic. Today we will have a little chit-chat with a Japanese dancer who opens the Europe Mid-Asia in contemporary dance this year in Hanoi. And then we will travel to one of the most beautiful mountain racing courses in Sapa District, Lào Cai Northern Mountainous Province, to explore the beauty of the land and people there. So sit back and relax. Here are the headlines for today's show. Artisans in Thừa Thiên Huế Province inspires paper flower revival. A little talk with Japanese dancer who opens the Europe Mid-Asia in contemporary dance this year. And finally, international mountain runners explore Sapa's culture along their races. And first, let's review the cultural highlights from the last week. Artists of Ho Chi Minh City Ballet Symphony Orchestra and Opera will represent Vietnam to take part in the Asia Orchestra Week 2014 held in Tokyo, Japan, starting next Friday from October the 3rd to the 9th. At the event, Vietnamese musicians will perform the nocturne Echo from the Past by composer Đỗ Hồng Quân. The second phase of the Vietnamese performances in Tokyo will feature violinist Nguyễn Hữu Nguyên, who will play Tchaikovsky Concerto D Major. Beethoven Symphony No. 7 will also be performed. All of those items will be under the baton of conductor Trần Vương Thạch. Asia Orchestra Week has been held since 2002 and attracted famous orchestra from around the world every year. Vietnam's National Symphony Orchestra attended this event in 2004. As part of the Vietnam Cultural Week in South Korea, a night of traditional Vietnamese performances was held in Gwangju City, a cultural hub of South Korea. And the following report takes a look at how local Koreans enjoyed their first tastes of Vietnamese culture.
The City Hall, although the performance won't start until 7 p.m, many people have already arrived to see a photo exhibition on Vietnam. To some people, this is their first time they've learned anything about Vietnam. For others, this is a chance for them to recall beautiful memories they once had in Vietnam.
I came here at 5 p.m. as I was told the performance is very interesting and a lot of people to come. While waiting for the show to start, I wandered through the exhibition. These photos remind me of the 2 times our family traveled to Vietnam. Those are all beautiful memories.
The night featured 20 performances that represented the rich culture of Vietnam with traditional musical instruments like the monochord and the Central Highlands theremin. Audiences had a chance to watch performances that told stories of the love for nature and for the country.
I like these performances very much. This is my first time to see such musical instruments and get to know Vietnamese culture.
Gwangju is the 5th largest city in Korea and also home to a large number of Vietnamese. For them, this is not just any performance. They came here with a nostalgia for their home country and as a connector to help introduce Vietnamese culture to Korean friends.
Hôm nay được đi xem là thật là đúng là quê hương Việt Nam có những rất nhiều là nhân tài và đúng là nghe âm nhạc xong rồi rất là nhớ đến quê hương.
Performances and cultural exchange programs like these are intended to introduce Vietnam to Korean friends, attract more Korean tourists and better strengthen the relationship between Vietnam and Korea.
The Bình Định Provincial People's Committee has reviewed and approved the application to have Bài Chòi folk songs recognized by UNESCO as an intangible cultural heritage. Unique to the coastal central region, Bài Chòi singing is a traditional art form that often heard at spring festivals. The performance resembles a game that involves quirky improvisation, playing cards and running between village huts. Along with cultural and art merits, Bài Chòi folk song highlights traditional social ethics, educational values and family love. The northern province of Bắc Ninh is famous for its old pagodas. Among them is the Bút Tháp Pagoda, which is one of the most outstanding old monuments in the northern Vietnam and home to 2 national treasures. In the following story, let's take a tour around this unique pagoda.
The architecture of Bút Tháp Pagoda features 2 lines of areca trees, moss-covered stone paths, and 1,000-year-old banyan trees, which have created a peaceful and ancient atmosphere. The pagoda faces south, the direction symbolizing intelligence and enlightenment according to Buddhist theory.
Chùa Bút Tháp là một bố cục nội công ngoại quốc, một bố cục khép kín với tất cả những thành phần mà một ngôi chùa kinh điển của Việt Nam trong hình ảnh hài hòa thống nhất của mình, các yếu tố kiến trúc của các thời từ thế kỷ 17, 18, 19, thậm chí cả 20.
Here, every building looks like a masterpiece, decorated with skillfully made architectural patterns. From the forecourt with shipping palaces, stone towers, and bridges to the rail building, all of them praise the harmony between architecture and the nature. Bút Tháp Pagoda is also home to the 1,000-eye, 1,000-arm Buddha statue, built in 1656. The uniqueness of this statue adds to the pagoda's attractiveness.
Cũng thường xuyên mỗi khi mà đi từ Hạ Long về Hà Nội thì trên đường thường là khách ghé thăm cái chùa Bút Tháp này. Khách mỗi lần khách đến đấy thì đều trầm trồ khen cái âm hưởng của cái chùa này.
Currently, another national treasure, the cửu phẩm Liên Hoa Tower, is being restored at Bút Tháp Pagoda.
Nhà chùa tức là mong muốn được tất cả các quý Phật tử khi được đến chùa và được chiêm ngưỡng và được phát huy những cái truyền thống.
Although centuries have passed, Bút Tháp Pagoda's architectural and sculptural masterpieces are still standing the time. Every year, it is a must-go destination of many Buddhist followers and tourists.
The 2014 Mù Cang Chải Cultural and Tourism Week begins on Thursday, September the 25th in this rural district of Yên Bái Northern Province. This 5-day event features many exciting cultural activities. Some of these are opportunities for visitors to enjoy an ethnic fashion parade, traditional brewing, or ethnical instrument making. 120 members of the Northern Paragliding Club will also join the lineup with a performance from Khao Phạ Pass over the terraces of Mù Cang Chải. This will also be a chance for Mù Cang Chải to promote its tourism potential and cultural beauty and promote traditional preservation. Almost half a century after they faded away, paper lotuses are in bloom once again in Thanh Tiên village, Thừa Thiên Huế Central Province. Thanks to artisan Thân Văn Huy, the village located in Huế has revived its most important tradition, the art and craft of making paper flowers, especially the famous lotus.
The village of Thanh Tiên has been known for the craft of making paper flowers for over 300 years in the imperial capital of Huế. Like the Huế people, Thanh Tiên paper flowers have a simple, gentle and delicate beauty. But there were times the craft was on the decline.
The art of making paper lotuses has declined over the past 50 years. Fortunately, the technique has recently been re-established by artist Thân Văn Huy. Based on his childhood memory, he was able to recover and revive the art of making paper lotuses.
Huy remembers that when he was a young boy, veteran artisans in Thanh Tiên used to make paper lotuses that were used to decorate homes or make offerings at family altars. However, demand for the products dropped dramatically as the nation entered a difficult period of prolonged wars and the vocation disappeared. That was until Huy and his family members decided to revive the tradition.
Hầu như là toàn người dân Việt Nam, từ người lớn tuổi cho đến trẻ tuổi, đều trong tâm thức của họ đều thuộc lòng câu ca dao gần buồn mà chẳng hôi tanh mùi buồn. Và cái hoa sen của người Việt Nam mình đã từ lâu, nó đã ở ẩn sâu trong tâm thức của người Việt Nam. Do vậy, rất nhiều cái duyên như vậy, thành ra tôi đã phục hồi cái hoa sen làm bằng giấy này.
We tried to learn about the technique of making paper flowers by asking elderly villagers. After several try and error efforts, he achieved success by recreating the beauty of the lotus. Each petal is made by rolling a thread over hand-dyed paper and hammering it to create ripples like a petal. He then uses glue and rattan to stick the petals in place to create lotus buds or blooming lotus flowers.
Trong gia đình cũng có nhiều người nó cũng rất là thích về cái thấy được cái vẻ đẹp của hoa sen. Do vậy trong gia đình tôi từ con cho đến em trai của tôi cũng là bắt tay vào và làm một cách rất là đam mê.
Tôi cũng rất đam mê hoa sen cũng như hoa sen giấy. Chính những cái điều đó là luôn thôi thúc tôi học hỏi và tìm tòi, học hỏi ba tôi để có thể sau này có phát triển lại và gìn giữ lại cái nghề hoa sen giấy này.
Hui's aim was to revive the tradition, so he did not keep his technique a secret. He shared it with other villagers. And since 2008, he has held many free courses at home to teach villagers how to make paper lotus flowers.
Dạ, mặc dù con đi học nhưng em vẫn muốn biết thêm về những nghề truyền thống mà làng khôi phục từ xưa. Em thấy hoa sen là đẹp, em muốn học.
His small house in Thanh Tiên village has become a stopover for many tours organized by travel agencies in Huế. During the Huế Festival 2014, his house attracted many visitors eager to experience the beauty of Huế. Among the green grass and houses in the peaceful countryside, his display of Thanh Tiên paper flowers looked striking and fascinated many visitors.
Mình cảm nhận là một cái nghệ thuật làm hoa giấy hết sức tinh xảo, rất là nghệ thuật, phải nói là nghệ thuật đến đỉnh điểm á. Bọn mình rất là ngưỡng mộ và bản thân nhà mình cũng trên những cái bàn thờ á, là mình cũng có những cái bình hoa sen như thế này.
This beautiful feature of Huế that is rarely seen in other places has been revived thanks to the love and creativeness of the locals in Thanh Tiên village. This has offered them a chance to rebuild their traditional craft and perhaps more importantly, pass it on to future generations.
You're tuning into Culture Mosaic, our weekly journal featuring the rich cultural diversity of the nation. We hope to become a bridge that connects artists and their work to our viewers out there. So don't go away, we have a lot more in this week's installment coming up for you in just a moment. The 4th Europe Meets Asia in Contemporary Dance Festival officially kicked off on Wednesday at the Youth Theatre here in Hanoi. The night was packed with performances from award-winning international dancers and choreographers. In this week's editions of On the Mic, our VTV reporter Huyen Chi will chat with one of the opening performers of this 5-day festival.
If we lose the best thing we ever had, if we forget, just hold me here in your arms, like we just met. We will be tender and say that we're forever, and just hope it will last, because I found.
We just saw an excerpt from Yo Nakamura's performance Goodbye, which is also one of the opening acts for this year's Europe Meets Asia in Contemporary Dance Festival. And I have here with me today Yo Nakamura to discuss her performance as well as some of the insights into this year's festival. Hello, and thank you so much for being with us today. Can you tell us a little bit about the performance you're bringing to the stage of Europe Meets Asia?
This, first of all, is a contemporary dance performance, but I also use some lines and plots from classic films by Japanese director Yasujiro Ozu, and even use dolls as props. These films talk about family relationships, and I play the daughter in this family before she has to get matched up for marriage.
Why did you choose this piece among many of the performances that you have choreographed to bring to this year's festival?
I think family relationship is a topic familiar to everyone, especially the Vietnamese audience. In this performance, I play the daughter, and there are also the roles of the father and the brother. There are many roles in a family, and there are many roles in society as well. Of course, I'm not saying that the roles in a family are the same as in a society, but whoever we are, when we have to meet the demands of others in order to please them, the most important thing is whether we can be content with our decision. In whatever we have to do, we have to stay true to ourselves and live as happily as we can.
How did you rehearse for this performance before coming to Vietnam?
This is the first time I'm performing in an Asian country that isn't my own, so I was very excited when I received the invitation to attend the festival, and I accepted it right away. This piece actually premiered 2 years ago, and at the time it took me over 2 months to rehearse. So this time when I attend the festival, I don't have to worry about the dance techniques, but I instead did research about the Vietnamese culture to see if you share the same familiar structure or if Vietnamese parents are familiar with matchmaking their sons and daughters when they are of age.
So you did some research on Vietnam before coming here. Did you make any alterations to meet the Vietnamese culture?
I didn't have to change a lot of things. What worried me the most before performing was depicting the relationship between fathers and daughters. But when I did my research, I found that this relationship in Vietnam is very similar to Japan. So fortunately, I didn't have to change that. I only translated the Japanese lines into Vietnamese. Vietnamese is very difficult, and I had to ask a Vietnamese friend who lives in Japan to teach me, and I only had 2 weeks to practice. I wanted to use Vietnamese in this performance because I wanted to make it more relatable to the Vietnamese audience, and I hope that they will like it better when they hear Vietnamese instead of Japanese.
Yo Nakamura first entered into the world of contemporary dance through the Modern Dance Club of Waseda University, Japan. She started choreographing her own repertoire since 2010, and since then has won numerous awards. This is her first time performing at the Europe Meets Asia in Contemporary Dance Festival. What are the differences between European and Asian contemporary dance?
This year, I have performed in 3 European countries, and I have seen many European groups perform in Japan. And I think that European contemporary dance originates from classical ballet, so their techniques are very precise, and they also use a lot of moves that depict sexuality. Japanese dancers tend to focus more on entertaining the audience and giving more of a story. My performance, for example, has lines and a plot in addition to dancing, so I think that is very much different.
So you mentioned that this is your first time attending the festival. How do you feel about meeting talent from all over the world, and what do you hope to learn from them?
The festival has only just started, so I have only seen the performance by friends from Sweden and Finland, and I think that they are very skilled dancers. Each move is subtle and delicate. Even their posture is beautiful, let alone their moves. For me, I think that all my performances are cute and not delicate like them, so I want to learn from them to develop my techniques and bring a more attractive performance.
How do you think international festivals like this will influence contemporary dance in the world?
I think this is a great opportunity for us to learn and experience new things. When I come here, I get to meet people and be involved in things that I cannot experience had I stayed in my country. When I came here, I also realized that contemporary dance is a big world. The performance I have seen also had great influence on me, so I think my world has been expanded as well. I can see that contemporary dance is a mix of many different styles of dance, and we can learn from each other to improve our techniques and make more interesting performances.
Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you have a wonderful performance tonight. Nakamura's performance, along with Skabaré, a collaboration between Finnish and Swedish dancers, officially kicked off the 5-day festival on September 24th. The event features a total of 7 performances with contemporary dancers, choreographers, and musicians from Belgium, Germany, France, Japan, Sweden, Finland, as well as host country Vietnam.
Well, I think contemporary dance in general offers the possibility to look and to perceive differently, because the modes of understanding and of formulating and communicating meaning are not through words, but through a language that we all have and share, the body.
In the world of dance, creativity has no limit. Europe Meets Asia has erased the geographical and cultural barriers between the performers. The 4th annual festival, Europe Meets Asia in Contemporary Dance, will conclude on Sunday, September 28th.
The 2014 Vietnam Mountain Marathon wrapped up on September the 21st in Sapa town and nearby villages in Lào Cai Northern Mountainous Province. The course has been praised by international marathon pros as one of the most beautiful mountain runs in the whole world. In our Connecting Culture this week, let's join me and 500 runners from 40 different countries in exploring the beauty of Sapa's land and people along the course. Around 500 runners from 40 different countries joined the Vietnam Mountain Marathon 2014 in Sapa town and nearby villages. In this biggest mountain race ever held in the country, runners could choose between a short race of 10 kilometers, a half marathon of 21 kilometers, and a full marathon of 42 kilometers. There was also the 70 kilometers ultra marathon, equal to 140 laps around a FIFA football field, but on mountain terrain. All of the races were held on small twisting, buffalo-beaten trails lying at least 1,000 meters above sea level on the mountain range of Hoang Liên National Park. Runners had to cross bamboo bridges, small mountain villages, and valleys that are usually closed to outsiders.
So, what's the most difficult part?
Downhills. I don't like running downhill. I fell over a couple of times. Yeah, it's really nice running through the small villages.
Great.
Yeah.
So, is this your first time here?
First time in Vietnam, first time doing this run.
Running up the mountain, running down the slope,
slippery slope full of mud and rock is, of course, one of the part of the Vietnam Mountain Marathon this year. But in return, you still have time to soak up in the local culture, to realize how beautiful Sapa is, or just to say hi to the local. Thank you. Sapa has entered the rice harvesting season. Scenes of local farmers threshing rice seeds manually like this can easily be captured. Along with complicated terrain, the weather was another challenge. Very strong sun or sudden heavy rain is always a possibility in the mountains. But a rainbow during the marathon was a bonus. So here I am at the finish line of all of the category of 21, 42 and 70 kilometers of the Vietnam Mountain Marathon 2014. And it's now nearly 12 at noon. And yes, we're about to have the first one to cross the finish line.
The first runner to finish this race.
Florian Deichmann, 34 years old from Germany, won the 21 kilometers race in 2 hours and 15 minutes. Also in the 21 kilometers race, Danish ambassador to Vietnam John Nielsen, one of the event's organizers, found hard for his finish time of nearly 4 hours.
I think the first two-thirds of what I was running was okay, but the last part was very, very tough. I've never tried anything like that. Nothing compared to that. It was so hard to get through. But at the same time, you had a fantastic view of the valley, and all the scenery was just beautiful. So that compensated for the hardness.
And we have the first runner.
For the hardest category, the 70 kilometers race, Danish professional ultra runner Simon Grimstrup won the race after a punishing 8 hours and a half.
This is the toughest course I've done of this distance. It's very tough. The last 21k, it's the toughest half marathon in the world. I'm really. Yes. And then the heat come from Denmark, so we don't have hills and heat, so it's hard. But very nice route, very beautiful place, excellent.
In the 42 kilometers race, David Lloyd from the United Kingdom came first with 5 hours 47 minutes. And the first prize of the 10 kilometers race went to Sung A Toa, a local Hmong man who finished his race after 55 minutes. This year, nearly $6,000 was raised with donation from the runners, with an aim to help ethnic minority children finish their education. The Vietnam Mountain Marathon is the result of a lifelong love of running and a fascination with Vietnam. Next year, the event will come back on a larger scale, also in Sapa, with the most beautiful mountain courses in the world. Hoài Lương, Vietnam Television, Sapa, Lào Cai Province. And that is the end of our program. If you would like to provide feedback or comment on anything here on Culture Mosaic, please feel free to email to us at culturemosaic@vtv.vn and make sure to include your name and address. You can also log on to vtv4.vn or youtube.com/vtv4go for more of our program. Don't forget to join us next week for another episode of Culture Mosaic. I'm Hoài Lương, and goodbye for now.